tengok juga tentang column in the stationary phase, ya, stationary phase, polar and non-polar stationary phase. Okay. So sekejap. Okay, this one is about the stationary phase. Yeah, this is about stationary phase. Sorry. Okay, if you look at this table, yeah, kalau dulu you all tak perlu tahu jenis stationary phase ni dan juga dia punya application, ya. Tapi after COVID ni seems like soalan tu lebih spesifik. Okay, so tak nak kamu kena ingat sikit type of column, yeah, type of stationary phase together with common application ataupun analyze yang kita nak analyze, ya. If you want to analyze the types of analyte, which stationary phase is suitable. Okay, so for example, yeah, polydimethylsiloxane is non-polar, yeah, non-polar. This is non-polar. Okay, so if you look at the common application, the general purpose non-polar phase, the analyte is hydrocarbon polynuclear aromatic steroid, yeah, polynuclear aromatic steroid. Kalau phenyl polydimethylsiloxane 5%, ya, phenyl polydimethylsiloxane is for fatty acid, methyl ester, alkaloid, drug, halogenated compound, ya. This is about mid polarity. Okay, non-polar, this is mid polar. Okay, and the common name is OV3, ya. This is OV1, OV1 ataupun SE30. This is OV3 ataupun SE52. Kalau 50% phenyl polydimethylsiloxane, this is for polar, this is for polar. Okay, kalau lagi banyak percentage tu phenyl tu, dia make it more polar. Okay, phenyl tu dia attachkan pada polydimethylsiloxane. Polydimethylsiloxane is actually non-polar, tapi bila dia increasekan polar percentage of phenyl tu, dia increasekan polarity of the stationary phase, ya. Okay, then this one 50% trifluoro. Okay, for this one, yeah, 50% trifluoropropyl polydimethylsiloxane. This is almost non-polar juga, ya. Alkyl substitute benzene, chlorinated aromatic, nitroaromatic, ya. Not to say very non-polar, but slightly non-polar lah, ya. Non-polar but with functional group that make it less polar, less non-polar, ya. Polyethylene glycol, daripada nama ni pun kita dah tahu it is for polar, ya. This is for polar. Okay, and 50% cyanopropyl polydimethylsiloxane, this is also for polar juga, ya, polar juga. Okay, so tengok dia punya common trait name juga, ya. And this is dia punya maximum temperature that it can work with, ya. Kalau tinggi sangat pun tak sesuai, nanti dia akan degrade ataupun stationary phase tu akan rosak. Okay, the choice of stationary phase, how to choose a stationary phase, we need to look at first our sample lah, yeah, to determine whether we want to use a polar or non-polar or mid-polar stationary phase, yeah. This is another criteria that we need to look during the choosing of stationary phase, yeah. First, ataupun in other word, we can say that this is property of good compound that can be a stationary phase, ya. First, property of stationary phase, okay, ataupun compound that is suitable to be used as a stationary phase. First, a low volatility. dia tak boleh volatile. Sebab kalau dia volatile, dia akan vaporize out. So nanti dah tak ada dah stationary phase kita dalam kolom tu, ya. The second one is thermal stability. The compound must be thermally stable. Again, kalau tak, dia akan rosak. The third one, it must be chemically inert. Yeah, it does not react with our sample. Then number 4, solvent characteristic must be within suitable range. If you still remember, K dengan alpha value ni, mesti sesuai, mesti boleh separate the sample. And it based on light dissolved light. This is about polarity. Kalau non-polar column, it is suitable for non-polar solute ataupun non-polar analyze. Kalau strongly polar compound, choose a strongly polar stationary phase ataupun column. And to reduce bleeding ataupun kita punya stationary phase rosak, keluar sekali dengan sample, the stationary phase must be bonded to silica, must be bonded either covalently or covalently attached to silica ataupun covalently cross-linked to itself, to make it more stronger. Okay. Okay, in this slide we look at how to describe column performance. We can manipulate or adjust retention time by changing polarity of the stationary phase. We can use this retention time difference to classify or rate column performance. Kita boleh tengok. And it also can be used to identify unknown. Kalau kamu tengok gambar dua ni, this is non-polar stationary phase, this is polar stationary phase. Kalau kamu tengok, masa dia, okay, masa dia baguslah. This is very short, 6 minit. This is very quite long, 18 minit. Okay, so retention time can be used to describe performance of the column. Okay. Other than retention time is actually kita punya ni lah, separation RS dan juga W, width of the peak, ataupun the measurement of how broad peak that we can get. Okay. Then another parameter that can be used to describe is retention index. Retention index is order of illusion, which is mainly determined by volatility and also polarity. Okay. So separation in gas chromatography based on two things. First, based on volatility, and second, based on polarity. Okay, kalau based on volatility, kita discuss tentang temperature tadi kan. Mana yang volatile, dia akan keluar dulu, dia akan vaporize dulu dan dia akan keluar dulu. Tapi dalam masa yang sama, dia tengok juga polarity. Okay. So least volatile compound normally will retain longer. Least volatile, yang more volatile tu yang akan keluar dulu. Tapi dalam masa yang sama juga, kita kena tengok juga dia punya polarity. So polar compound, for example alcohol, are the least volatile and will be the most retained on the stationary phase and also on the instrument, on the gas chromatography system. So jadi kita tengok dua faktor lah, satu volatility, satu polarity. So in term of volatility, kita kata yang low volatile, kalau kita kata low volatile, elute faster. Okay. Tapi kalau in term of polarity, low polarity, elute faster juga. Okay. So opposite lah. Low volatility, elute faster. High volatility, sorry. Sekejap. Tak apa, saya buat dekat sini sikit. Ya, bagi nampak sikit. Okay. In term of polarity, low polarity, elute faster. Okay. High polarity, elute later. In term of volatility, low volatility, low volatility means that dia kurang volatile, ya. Dia elute later. High volatility, elute faster. Okay. So yang ini boleh jadikan terms of rules jugalah, ya. Okay. Jadi bila kita discuss tentang polarity, so kamu kena tahu sikit polarity of the solute, ya. This is non-polar, so this is the types of compound that is non-polar. Okay, kita ada saturated hydrocarbon, aliphatic hydrocarbon, ya. Yang ni saya tak terangkan lah apa benda semua tu, ya. Yang ni kamu kena tahu sikit lah. Weak polarity, weak intermediate polarity, so we have ether, ketone, aldehyde dan seterusnya. Strong intermediate polarity, alkohol dan sampai nitrile ni. Strong polar, yang ni. Okay, so classification of polarity of solute ni kamu kena ingat sikit. Okay. Okay, itu tentang kolom, ya, tentang kolom. Tapi dalam column is placed inside the oven, so kita nak cerita tentang temperature programming, ya. What setup of temperature we can use in our analysis. Okay, so nak set temperature ni kita ada dua. Sama ada kita guna ISO, ya, isothermal, ataupun kita gunakan temperature programming. So kalau isothermal ni, iso means constant, ya, sim, thermal means temperature. Dari awal sampai akhir, ya, kalau kita lukiskan, okay, dari awal sampai akhir, this is temperature, this is time. Dari awal, dari 0 sampai T final ni, constant temperature we use. Okay, katakanlah 150 degree Celsius. So constant je dari awal sampai akhir. Tapi with temperature programming, kita boleh tukar, ya. So what is temperature programming? Temperature programming is a technique in which the column temperature is increased either continuously or in step as the separation proceed. Yeah. This technique is used to improve column efficiency as well as to improve separation. Yeah. Okay. Kalau isothermal, opposite lah, a technique in which the column temperature is is constant, okay, throughout the analysis, yeah, throughout analysis, okay. So kalau temperature programming ni, kita increasekan temperature either continuously or in step. In step macam katakan kita increasekan daripada 70, okay, mula 70, kemudian increasekan jadi 100, kemudian constant sekejap, kemudian increasekan lagi jadi 150, constant lagi, increase lagi 200, okay. This is 70, 150, 200, 250 dan seterusnya lah sampai final temperature, ya. So why we use this method? to improve column efficiency ataupun to improve separation efficiency. Okay, so kalau kita tengok ya, ini dia guna isothermal pada temperature 150 degree Celsius. Benda yang sama kemudian dia improvekan ya, temperature gradient improve resolution ya. This one yang hijau ni, dia tak nampak dah. Okay, sekejap saya padam. Okay, temperature gradient ataupun temperature programming improve resolution while also decreasing retention time. Of course, bila kita improvekan column efficiency, ada dua benda yang kita akan improve, TR dan juga W ya, dia punya width of the peak tu. Kita reducekan band broadening dengan kita reducekan dia punya retention time ya. So kalau comparekan kat sini ya, yang ini C berapa saya tak boleh nak nampak. This one C15 ya, pada minit ke 95. Tapi pada masa yang sama kita dapat kalau kita gunakan temperature programming ya, kita boleh dapat kita boleh dapat C21 pada minit 36 ya. Beza sangat. Dalam beza masa, dia punya peak pun cantik ya. Well separate, narrow. Kalau yang ini kat sini banyak yang tak separate, broad. Okay, so that is about temperature programming. Okay, cerita tentang temperature programming ni nanti dalam liquid chromatography kita ada teknik yang sama tapi term dia berbeza. Kita ada, kalau untuk ISO ni kita panggil isocratic. Okey, sekejap. Kita panggil isocratic ya. Kalau yang kita constant kan isocratic. Kalau yang ini kita panggil gradient illusion. Okey. Tapi bezanya dalam gas chromatography kita change the temperature, tapi dalam this is in liquid chromatography ya. Liquid chromatography kita tukarkan polarity of solvent ya. Polarity of solvent by changing ratio solvent. Macam contoh katakan kita guna water dengan hexane ya. Water is polar, hexane non-polar. Jadi kalau kita nak improvekan polarity, kita increasekan water. Kalau kita nak reducekan polarity, kita increasekan hexane. Okay, so samalah dua benda ni. Dan purpose dia pun sama juga, to improve column efficiency. Okay. Okay, and another things about temperature programming, this is isothermal and technique in which the column temperature is constantly maintained throughout the separation. So you boleh tengok ni isothermal pada temperature 120, ini temperature programming daripada 30 to 180. Dia increasekan 5 degree Celsius per minute. Okay, yang saya nak beritahu tadi, when it is suitable to use temperature programming dan juga gradient illusion ya. Ni pressure programming, tak apa yang ni kita tak nak tengok. Okay, saya nak cerita yang ni. When it is suitable to use temperature programming dengan gradient illusion is when dalam GC when we have a wide temperature range of analyte ya. Boiling point of analyte kita besar, means that dia punya range tu besar ya. Kalau yang ini dia punya polarity range dia ya besar juga. Okay, ni dalam LC, ni dalam GC. Okay, what does it mean by temperature range? Macam contoh ya, kalau yang ini 70, yang ini 150, yang ini 200 ya. Beza dia jauh. So it is suitable to use temperature programming. Kalau kamu guna isothermal, yang 70 ni, kalau kamu guna 150 ya, temperature dia constant je 150. So yang 70 dengan 150 keluarlah. Tapi yang 200 ni lambat nak keluar sebab temperature tak naik-naik kan. Tapi kalau gunakan temperature programming, you boleh set mula-mula 70, lepas tu improvekan 150, kemudian increase lagi ke 200. Jadi dia akan keluar cepat, tak perlu nak tunggu sampai masa panjang, dia terus boleh keluar. Okay. Pressure programming saya tak nak discuss, this is a bit detail for you. And the last one is the detector. We have many types of detector available to be used with gas chromatography, and this is property of good detector, requirement ataupun property of good detector. Okay. It must be sensitive to the analytes of interest. Kalau tak sensitif, nanti analyte dah lalu pun dia tak detect juga. Compatible with the column, carrier gas and solvent. Ada detector tak sesuai dengan kolom, pack column, tak sesuai dengan capillary column, susah juga. Okay. And the third one is must be rugged. Use a full linear range. This is especially for quantitative analysis. For quantitative analysis, remember kita nak determine the concentration, kita buat calibration curve. So make sure the linear range is useful. Bukanlah pada skala yang kita tak nak guna. Okay. Then have its own temperature control. Mesti ada temperature controller sendiri. Measure response as a voltage or current. So this is a few types of detector we can use in gas chromatography. We have flame ionization detector, thermal conductivity detector, electron capture detector. Okay. This is a flame ionization detector. Untuk detector, apa yang kamu kena tahu adalah a suitable analyze for each detector. Suitable analyze. So for example, flame ionization detector ni adalah detector yang sesuai untuk analytes that contain carbon that can be burned in hydrogen and oxygen to produce ion, because dia flame ionization detector. Sampel kita mesti boleh jadi ion, baru dia boleh detect. Okay. So yang ini saya tak nak ceritalah yang ini. This is a bit detail untuk level kamu, tapi it's good for you to know. Then we have thermal conductivity detector. Thermal conductivity detector ni dia boleh detect it is universal detector. Dia boleh detect banyak benda sebab dia detect substance yang ada thermal conductivity. Normally most organic compound ataupun most chemical compound boleh conduct boleh conduct haba. Okay, so dia boleh detect. This one tak ada apa. This is carrier gas. Okay. Itu saja untuk thermal conductivity detector. Dan electron capture detector. Electron capture detector is normally this detector works by detect electron from the electron rich compound. As analyte with electron capturing ability pass through the cell, the flow of electron is reduced, and the change in current due to the reduce of flow of electron can be will be our signal. So this detector is suitable for halogen, nitrile, carbonyl, nitro compound, normally pesticide, herbicide, PCB, then in environmental sample. And this detector is non-destructive. Kalau macam FID tadi, dia destructive sebab dia kena bakar sampel kita tu untuk jadi ion, baru boleh detect. So that one is destructive, this is non-destructive. Okay, destructive sometimes will become disadvantage sebab kita tak boleh dapat balik sampel kita tu. Okay, so non-destructive detector ni is actually can be an advantage for that detector. Okay, this is another detector. We have photoionization detector, nitrogen phosphorus detector, flame photometric detector, Hall or electrolytic conductivity detector. So kamu kena tengok what type of compound suitable for that each detector. Okay, for example, this one for sulfur, nitrogen and halogen compound. This is for NPD, nitrogen phosphorus compound, compound yang ada nitrogen dan phosphorus. Okay, this one, this is another table to show various type of detector in gas chromatography.